Well, I keep promising, so let's finally try to get to it. It's gonna take a while because there's just a lot that's been happening. So I will preface the obvious things that Dave Chappelle did something very controversial in Saudi Arabia. There's that, and the Charlie Kirk murder has got a lot of people very upset. Me personally, I really don't care. That's just my attitude. So we're first gonna go through some kind of old Dave Chappelle and some of the new Dave Chappelle, and then we'll get to Dave's, which I think it's a little brutal, not too much. So fair warning, if you're sensitive, you've been warned. You've been warned. So we're gonna first hear classic Chappelle, and then get into his commentary on Charlie Kirk.
I had an experience with the Klan. They came to my house when I was little. But my mother, this is a strong woman, my mother, she went right to the door and opened it and gave them candy. And my mother used to tell me this thing. I don't even know if you remember, but you said this to me more than once. You said, son, sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the lamb you really are.
So now, in fairness, we got to set up Charlie Kirk, and he covered many different opinions. I'm going to state the obvious comedy because that's what we do when we highlight and do the commentaries on comedy. That he was for gun rights, killed by a gunshot. A lot of people get upset, but it's a fact. I've heard the audio and video clips. He clearly is for gun rights. He even literally said, well, there's a trade off, right? I mean, some innocent people could die. And he's like, yeah, well, we should be willing to pay the price. So, what can I tell you? It's definitely a deep irony that the man who said, guys, come on, get a gun. Okay. There you go. Okay. And definitely, Dr. King, like he did authorize violence in some cases. He wasn't saying like radical pacifism. He's not saying no violence in no situation, but it would have to be an exceptional situation. It wasn't like Charlie Kirk, yeah, get a gun for free program. Okay, so it's a little bit different. But let's be fair to Kirk. And again, I'm not going to clip him, all right? So I'm going to push back against some of the wokos who are like, he's a racist. I'm not seeing that, but you decide for yourself. He was pretty insensitive, I would say, in certain issues. But we'll let him speak, you decide, and then we'll get to the Chappelle commentary.
It shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil. But what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid. I mean, 4,000 black men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch mobs.
That's your explanation. But
racial terror permeated American culture for hundreds of years.
Black America is worse than it has been.
Right, just to get to the bigger context, and we're going to get to Dave soon, don't worry. But basically, he's positing a lot of statistics showing in some ways things are worse for black Americans, depending on what you look at. Crime rates, divorce rates, so on and so forth. Depends how you look at the numbers, what the numbers are. It can get complicated. But yeah, he's saying, well, actually, it was better for black people in the 1940s by many standards. But then, of course, we've got, which the black woman was saying, I mean, well, what about lynchings? I mean, aren't you idealizing or prettifying the past? And he's like, yeah, I guess, but things were better. There you go. So, but he does admit, no, it's terrible. It was terrible in many ways, but in some ways, it was actually pretty good. So, there you go. It's a mixed bag. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a nice little insight into where Charlie's coming from. Again, we're not here to do a super documentary of his whole life. So now let's get to Dave. And again, it's comedy. It's just having fun. Don't be so sensitive.
And the whites were quick to say this. They said, Charlie Kirk is this generation's Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's a reach. They both got murdered in a terrible fashion. They both got shot in the neck, but that's about where those similarities end. Charlie Kirk is an internet personality. No, by design, fundamental.
I'll play the rest of it, but yes, some people sometimes complain about the audio quality. That, guys, it is what it is. That's a live concert. Doesn't matter how much you play with the audio or It's only going to get so clean. So people are complaining, why are these audio clips? Why are the clips so bad? Just how it is sometimes. You have to ask Dave and how they give him the microphone, and he's working with a crowd. So some of it's just like you really can't control how people react. Okay, so he's saying Charlie Kirk's fundamentally internet personality. Well, just fact check. I think it's more correct to say Charlie was more of a print. He is kind of an online personality, that's true, but he's not really a YouTuber or TikTok guy. That's not really his background. Those are just formats. So I think it's more right to say he's kind of a print. I don't want to say news journalist, but like print news kind of commentator, I guess vaguely. I don't think he was really an expert in what he talked about. He just had a couple of factoids he'd throw at people. Can't say he's a bad speaker. I think he has a very good speaking style. It's very radically different from Mr. King. I've actually gone through a lot of King speeches lately, and King obviously uses a lot of the Bible, a lot of ancient philosophy, Socrates, Plato, a lot of allusions to black preachers. Like he grew up with a lot of black preachers. His father was a black preacher, so he's got a very distinct way of talking, distinct way of saying words, using rhetoric in a very specific way. Whereas Charlie Kirk did a lot of provocative stuff, question answer, and so on and so forth. Just very different speaking style and very different way of carrying himself. Okay, but now let's get to some of the punchlines. Again, I thought it was only mildly brutal. For Dave Chappelle, this was actually kind of like, it's kind of it's fairly light, fairly light.
Mentally can't function like Dr. King. A negative, because they have to be. Because nobody will engage them unless they say shit that makes them upset. That's Charlie Kirk. Could you imagine Dr. King was behaving like Charlie Kirk? Smash that like button and subscribe. Follow me for more content like this. I believe all black people should be free. Change my mind.
Yeah, that last one was really funny. That's more Steve Crowder. Crowder is the one who made that very popular. He was also a very right wing speaker guy. Same thing, same format as Charlie Kirk. Went to all these colleges, trying to stir up all these controversial issues, and he would just sit back say, "Change my mind," which I always find the dumbest thing. Because like, well, what if you have a good argument? You didn't change. Doesn't mean it's a bad argument. So it's kind of a dumb thing. It is a funny meme that people have used. They're even using it against him now, making him look like an idiot. So, but that was a nice little mix and match talking about Charlie Kirk. I don't know if he did know it was Crowder or he thinks that was Kirk, because sometimes it's easy to confuse all these guys. Okay, so a couple of light punches, but very definitely racialized. I don't know if you guys picked it up, but at the very beginning of the Charlie Kirk section, he did say the whites. The whites were saying Charlie Kirk is MLK. Yeah. Well, and again, Charlie did have black friends. He had some black people on his side. Candace Owens is probably the most famous now, but he worked with black people. I don't think it's right to say he only appealed to whites. I don't think that's fair. However, yeah, inordinate, just from Twitter, just my observation, guys. An insane amount of white people do want to compare Charlie Kirk to MLK and say he's the next Dr. King. So he's definitely right. This is definitely a thing. It's definitely stupid. I agree. I think this is pretty ridiculous. But a lot of people are comparing Charlie to Jesus, Dr. King, Dalai Lama, like he's some kind of world, global famous revolutionary hero, man of the people, and we lost him. We lost him, guys. 2025, we lost our hero. What are we going to do? Oh my God, how am I going to survive Anakin? I don't know. I'll survive. I'll survive without Charlie Kirk. So, okay, so moderately, it was meant to be offensive, but moderately offensive. Dave Chappelle. More is coming, guys. Just give me a chance, but I've just got so much to deal with. But more commentaries and more highlights of favorite comedians coming your way soon. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe if you can. And please be safe out there.